Sometimes people ask, what's the one thing that actually changes your life when everything collapses? Not the quote you post, not the mindset you repeat, not the motivation that lasts an hour. The one thing that changes your life is what you do the day after you lose. Because that's the day most people disappear. They don't physically disappear, they just stop moving. They wake up, feel the weight, and let the weight decide for them. And if you've ever been there, debt, failure, heartbreak, unemployment, humiliation, then you know what I mean when I say, rock bottom doesn't feel like a moment, it feels like a place you're stuck living in. Now, I'm going to tell you a story in a calm way. Not for drama, because the point isn't the story. The point is the principle that survives the story. At 29, I lost everything. Not lost a little. Everything. And the painful part is that it wasn't one problem. It was multiple problems stacking at the same time. The kind of season where you don't even know which fire to put out first. It's grief. It's money pressure. It's fear. It's exhaustion. It's the feeling that even if you try, it won't matter. And the mind does what the mind always does under that pressure. It starts replaying the past like a courtroom. If I did this differently, if I said that differently, if I chose another path, if I worked harder, if I noticed earlier. And those questions feel intelligent, but they don't produce anything except pain. Before we go deeper, let me ask you something. Write in the comments where you're watching from and what season you're in right now. Debt? Starting over? Burnout? Divorce? A job loss? A business that failed? Not for me, for you. Because naming it is the first step of stepping out of it. Now, here's what I discovered in that darkness. Not in a book, not from a mentor, not from some perfect plan. I discovered it because I had no choice. And the principle is simple. You can't control what happened to you, but you can control what you do next. That sounds obvious, almost too obvious. But here's the reason it saves people. When you lose everything, your brain tries to take away your agency. It convinces you that you have no power, no options, no future. So you stop acting. And the moment you stop acting, you start drowning. Because a life without agency is just pain with no direction. The goal is not to erase pain. The goal is to put a direction inside the pain. So I want you to imagine two paths. Path 1. You keep staring at what you lost. You replay it. You catalogue it. You argue with reality. You ask, why me? You ask, how is this fair? You ask, what was the point? And those questions are human, but they don't build anything. They trap you in the past, and the past can't be fixed. Path 2. You accept the loss as real, without pretending it didn't hurt, and you ask a different question. What can I control today? Not for the next year, not for the next 5 years. Today. That question is the first breath of oxygen. Because even at rock bottom, there is always something you can control. Maybe not outcomes, but inputs. You can't control whether someone hires you tomorrow, but you can control whether you send one application. You can't control whether the market cooperates, but you can control whether you study and follow a process. You can't control what someone did to you, but you can control whether you take care of your body, your mind, your schedule. And the moment you do even one controllable thing, something shifts. Not the world, you. You go from victim to actor. You stop being someone things happen to and become someone who moves. That's why this principle matters. Not because it's inspirational, because it's operational. So let me tell you what the rebuild actually looked like. Calm, not heroic. I made a decision. Every day I do one thing that moves me forward. Not 10 things, not a perfect plan, one thing. Some days that one thing is big, sending the email, making the call, fixing a critical problem. Other days it's small, getting out of bed, taking a shower, eating a meal, going for a walk. And that matters. Because when you're at rock bottom, your nervous system is overloaded. You don't need a revolution, you need one step. And here's the part most people don't understand. Small actions compound. One call doesn't change your life, but one call every day for a year does. One healthy meal doesn't change your body, but one healthy meal every day does. One page of reading doesn't change your mind, but one page every day does. The mistake people make is they wait to feel ready. They wait for motivation. They wait for clarity. They wait for confidence. But those feelings don't come first. Action comes first. Feelings follow action. That's the hidden rule. You don't get momentum by thinking your way into it. You get momentum by moving. So in the next part, I'm going to give you the exact calm wealth framework to apply this principle in real life. A simple step-by-step reset. Accept what you cannot change. Identify what you control today. Take one action daily. Measure progress, not outcomes. Find one person or one structure that holds you accountable. Because knowing the principle isn't enough, you have to build it into your day so it carries you even when you don't feel strong. Now we get practical. Because knowing the principle is not enough, you have to operationalize it. You have to build it into your day. When you're at rock bottom, you don't need a 10-step master plan. You need a structure that gives you oxygen. So here's the Calm Wealth Framework, and it starts with 2 steps that most people skip because they're uncomfortable. Step 1. Accept what you cannot change. This is brutal, but it's necessary. When your life collapses, your mind does something natural. It fights reality. It keeps arguing with the past. If I had done this, if they had not done that, if life was fair, if I could go back. Those thoughts feel like problem solving, but they're not. They're pain loops. And pain loops consume the energy you need to rebuild. Acceptance does not mean approval. It does not mean you like what happened. It does not mean it was fair. It does not mean you stop caring. Acceptance means you stop spending your limited energy fighting facts, because facts don't negotiate. If you lost the job, you lost the job. If the relationship ended, it ended. If you're in debt, you're in debt. If you failed, you failed. Fighting that reality doesn't reverse it. It only delays your next move. So here's the Calm Wealth exercise. It's simple, but it works. Take a piece of paper. Write a title. What happened? Then write down the things you're still fighting. The layoff, the debt, the mistake, the breakup, the business loss, the health scare, whatever it is. And next to each one, write one sentence. I cannot change this. I accept that it happened. Again, acceptance is not approval. It's surrendering the argument with the past so you can focus on the present. Because rebuilding requires attention, and attention is limited. Here's what usually happens when people do this. They feel a wave of emotion. That's normal. You're not breaking. You're releasing tension you've been holding. And after that wave, something quieter shows up. Space. A little space. And in that space, you can finally ask the only question that matters. What now? That question is power, because what now belongs to you. Step 2. Identify what you can control today. This is where most people get stuck, because rock bottom makes you feel like you control nothing. But that's not true. You might not control outcomes, but you always control inputs. This is the key distinction that saves people. You can't control whether you get hired tomorrow, but you can control whether you send 5 applications. You can't control whether someone comes back, but you can control whether you heal, get stronger, and rebuild your life. You can't control the economy, but you can control your skills, your spending, your routine, your decisions. And when you're overwhelmed, you don't need a long list. You need one controllable action that is small enough to do even when you feel weak. So here's the calm wealth rule. Your job is not to fix your life today. Your job is to find one lever you can pull today. One lever. Now, let me give you 3 common scenarios and how this looks in real life. Scenario A. You're drowning in debt. What you cannot control, the fact that the debt exists. What you can control today. You list every debt in one place. You stop the bleeding. No new debt. You call one company and ask for a plan or reduced payment. You make one payment, even small. It's not about the amount, it's about restoring agency. Because when you do one controllable thing, you stop feeling powerless, and powerless is where people spiral. Scenario B. You lost your job. What you cannot control, that they let you go. What you can control today. Update your resume for one role. Message one person in your network. Apply to 3 positions. Practice one interview answer. Go for a walk to clear your nervous system so you can function. Again, not heroic, consistent. Scenario C. You're mentally exhausted/burned out. What you cannot control. That you feel depleted right now. What you can control today. Go to sleep at a reasonable time. Eat one proper meal. Take a walk. Clean one small area. Write down tomorrow's one action. When you're burned out, the rebuild starts with your body. Because you can't think your way out of exhaustion, you have to recover your capacity. Now, here's the key moment. After you list what you can control, you must choose one action, not 10. Because 10 is a fantasy when you're in pain. 1 is real. So write this line. Tomorrow, I will do this one thing. And choose something so small it feels almost insulting. Because the goal is momentum, not performance. People destroy themselves by choosing goals that are too big in a fragile state. They say, I'll fix everything. I'll change my life in a week. I'll become a new person overnight. Then they fail, and the failure becomes proof that they're broken. They're not broken. They just chose a plan that required a version of themselves that doesn't exist yet. So you choose a plan that your current self can actually execute. That's calm wealth, designing systems for your real life, not your best day. Now, Once you've accepted reality and identified control, we move to step 3. And this is where the rebuild becomes inevitable. One action every day. Not because it's glamorous, because that's how compounding works in human life. Now we move into the part that creates momentum. Because accepting reality and identifying control is powerful, but nothing changes until you act. And the reason most people don't act is simple. They try to act like a person who is already healed, already confident, already stable. But when you're rebuilding from the floor, you're not that person yet. So you don't need a plan that requires confidence. You need a plan that creates confidence. Step 3. Take one action every day. This is the step that looks almost too small to matter. And that's exactly why it works. When your life collapses, your nervous system is overloaded. Your brain is tired. Your emotions are loud. In that state, big plans feel impossible. So the only sustainable strategy is the smallest unit of progress. One controllable action per day. Not a perfect day, not a productive day, one action. And I want you to hear this clearly. The size of the action is not the point. The consistency is the point. Consistency is what compounds. So the goal is to choose an action that is small enough that you can do it even when you don't feel like it, real enough that it moves you forward, specific enough that you can't pretend you did it. Here are examples of one action, depending on your situation. If you're rebuilding finances, make the list of debts, cancel one subscription. Transfer a small amount to savings. Apply to one job. Do 1 hour of skill building. If you're rebuilding career, update one section of your resume. Message one person. Practice one interview. Story. Build one small project. Learn one tool. If you're rebuilding emotionally, go outside for a 20-minute walk. Eat one proper meal. Clean one small area. Write one page in a journal. Go to bed at a reasonable time. Again, one action. Because one action is how you rebuild the belief that you are still capable. And that belief is everything. Most people don't need inspiration. They need evidence. Evidence that they can still move. So you create that evidence daily. Now, here's the most important rule inside step 3. You do the action even when it feels meaningless. Because the first week will feel meaningless. The second week will feel slightly better. By the third week, you'll notice something. You're no longer waiting to feel okay. You're generating stability. And stability changes how you think. Now, a lot of people sabotage this step with one sentence. I missed a day. I failed. No, missing a day is normal. Failure is quitting. So here's the calm wealth rule. Never miss twice. If you miss one day, fine. The next day, you do one small action again. That keeps the chain alive. And the chain is what rebuilds you. Step 4. Measure progress, not outcomes. This is the step that stops you from giving up too early, because outcomes are slow. If you're in debt, it can take years to be free. If you're rebuilding a career, it can take months before the first offer. If you're healing, it can take time before you feel better. And if you measure your success only by outcomes, you will quit. Because you'll keep asking, am I there yet? Is it fixed yet? Why isn't it changing faster? Those questions create despair, not because you're weak, Because the scoreboard is wrong. When you're rebuilding, you need a scoreboard that gives you wins today. So the Calm Wealth scoreboard is progress. Did you take your one action? Did you show up? Did you stay consistent? Did you learn something? Did you reduce chaos slightly? Did you move 1 inch forward? Those are wins. And wins matter because wins create energy. Energy creates more action. More action creates more progress. Progress compounds into outcomes. This is the sequence most people ignore. They want outcomes first. They want motivation first. They want relief first. But rebuilding doesn't work that way. You build progress first. Outcomes come later. So here's a simple progress tracker you can use. 3 lines at the end of each day. My one action was what I learned today. Tomorrow's one action. That's it. It takes 2 minutes, but it does something powerful. It turns your day into a direction. Even if your life is still messy, you stop feeling like you're drifting. Now, let me connect this back to the principle that saved me. You can't control what happened, but you can control what you do next. Step 3 is what you do next. Step 4 is how you keep going long enough for it to work. Because here's the calm truth. Rebuilding is not one decision. It's a decision you renew daily. Now, in the next part, we finish the framework with step 5, and this one is essential. Find one person or one structure that holds you accountable. Because there will be days you don't believe in yourself, and on those days, you need something outside your emotions to keep you moving. Step 5. Find one person or one structure that keeps you moving. This part is not optional, because when you're rebuilding, there will be days you don't believe in yourself. Days when your brain says, "What's the point?" Days when you're exhausted, emotional, and tempted to disappear. And on those days, willpower is not enough. You need something outside your emotions. That something can be a person, or it can be a structure. A person might be a friend who checks on you, a mentor, a therapist, a partner, a family member who's calm and stable. But if you don't have that person right now, don't use that as an excuse. Use a structure. A structure can be a daily checklist you follow no matter what, a calendar block you treat like a meeting, a small group with accountability, a simple tracker you don't break, a public commitment you write and update weekly. Because the function is the same. It holds you steady when your feelings try to pull you under. Here's the Calm Wealth rule. Don't trust your mood, trust a system. If your plan depends on your mood, you'll lose. If your plan depends on a system, you'll survive long enough for things to improve. Now, let's talk about the 3 mental traps that destroy people during rebuilding. Not because they're weak, because they're human. Trap number 1. I'll start when I feel ready. This is the most common lie. Ready is a feeling. Rebuilding is a practice. You don't get ready and then act. You act, and readiness shows up later. At rock bottom, you are supposed to feel unsure. That's normal. But you do one action anyway, because action is what creates oxygen. So if you're waiting to feel ready, you're waiting for a feeling that comes after progress. Trap number 2. Comparing your beginning to someone else's middle. This one is poison. When you're starting over, everyone looks ahead. And if you keep watching other people, you will feel small. And feeling small leads to quitting. So you stop comparing outcomes. You compare inputs. Did you take one action today? Did you protect your routine? Did you make progress? That's your competition. Your past self, not someone's highlight reel. Trap number 3. Interpreting setbacks as proof you're failing. You will have bad days. You will have weeks where it feels like nothing is working. That is not failure. That is the process. Failure is not falling. Failure is staying down. So when you hit a setback, you do something simple and adult. You extract the lesson and continue. What happened? What did I learn? What do I adjust? What is tomorrow's one action? That's calm wealth. Treating setbacks as data, not identity. Now, let me bring this back to the reason this video exists. The reason I lost everything stories matter isn't the drama. It's the reminder that you can rebuild from worse than you think. But only if you stop arguing with the past and start acting in the present. Because the past cannot be negotiated with, but the next step can be chosen. So, here's your assignment. And I want it to be simple enough that you'll actually do it. Take a piece of paper. Write 3 lines. What happened that I cannot change? What I can control today? My one action for tomorrow. Then do that one action tomorrow. Not when you feel better, tomorrow. And if you want to make it real, write your one action in the comments. Keep it small. Keep it specific. Send one application. Call the bank. Walk for 20 minutes. Cancel one subscription. Write my resume. Pay $10 toward debt. Book a therapy session. Clean one area. Go to bed on time. Anything that moves you forward. Because once you do it, something shifts. Not the world. You. You stop being someone life happens to and become someone who moves. And if you do one action a day for 30 days, you will be shocked at what returns. Clarity, energy, confidence, options. Not because life became easy, because you stopped being stuck. You cannot control what happened to you, but you can control what you do next. And that one decision, repeated daily, changes everything. Write your age and city below, and tell me your one action for tomorrow. Not for me, for you. Because naming it is the first step of becoming the kind of person who follows through. Keep it calm, keep it simple, and take the next step.